Most people believe that becoming rich is simply the result of working hard, staying consistent, and never giving up, but the reality is far more complex and uncomfortable than that, because if hard work alone created wealth, then millions of people working long hours every day would already be financially free, and yet they are not, which means something deeper is happening beneath the surface, something most people never fully understand, and that is the system they are operating in, a system where the majority are trained from a young age to follow a very specific path, go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work for decades, and hope that someday things improve, but this path is designed for stability, not wealth, and that's the first reason why most people never become rich, because they are taught to trade time for money, and time is the most limited resource anyone has. You can always earn more money, but you cannot create more time, so if your income depends entirely on how many hours you work, there will always be a limit to how much you can earn, and even if you increase your income, your time remains fixed, and this creates a ceiling that is very hard to break, while wealthy individuals focus on building systems, investments, or assets that generate income without requiring their constant presence, and this difference alone separates two completely different financial paths, and then comes the role of risk, because from childhood most people are conditioned to avoid it, they are taught that failure is something to fear, something to avoid at all costs, so they choose safety over opportunity again and again, they stay in jobs they don't like, they avoid starting businesses, they hesitate to invest, because uncertainty feels dangerous, but the truth is that wealth almost always exists on the other side of calculated risk, and by constantly choosing safety, people unknowingly limit their chances of ever reaching financial independence. And another major factor is the lack of financial education, because traditional education systems rarely teach how money actually works, they don't explain concepts like assets, liabilities, investing, or compounding in a practical way, so people grow up earning money without understanding how to multiply it. They spend based on lifestyle rather than strategy, and even when their income increases, their expenses grow alongside it, creating a cycle where they feel stuck no matter how much they earn, and over time, this becomes normal, and they stop questioning it. And then there is the influence of environment, because the people around you shape your mindset more than you realize. If you are surrounded by individuals who believe that wealth is rare, difficult, or only meant for a select few, then those beliefs slowly become your own, and this is not about intelligence or ability, it's about exposure, because when you never see something happening around you, it becomes harder to believe it's possible for you, and as a result, most people unconsciously limit their own potential without even trying to push beyond it. And patience is another hidden factor that plays a huge role, because we live in a world where everything is instant, people expect quick results, fast money, and immediate success. But real wealth doesn't work that way. It requires time, consistency, and long-term thinking, and when people don't see immediate outcomes, they get frustrated, they switch strategies, they give up, and they start over again, repeating the cycle without ever allowing their efforts to compound, and this lack of patience quietly destroys progress. And then there are habits, the small daily actions that seem insignificant but create massive results over time, because wealth is rarely built through one big decision, it is built through consistent behavior, how you manage your money, how you spend your time, what you focus on every day, and most people underestimate this. They look for shortcuts or big opportunities, but ignore the power of discipline, and slowly those small choices keep them in the same place year after year. And distraction has also become one of the biggest barriers in the modern world, because attention is constantly being pulled in different directions, social media, entertainment, endless scrolling, all of it consumes time and energy that could have been used to build something meaningful, and instead of creating, people spend hours consuming, watching others succeed while making little progress themselves. And over time this creates a gap between what they want and what they actually do. And then there is comfort, one of the most dangerous traps, because many people are not truly satisfied with their lives, but they are comfortable enough to stay where they are. They have a stable routine, a predictable income, and just enough security to avoid change, and this comfort zone slowly becomes a cage, because growth requires discomfort, it requires stepping into uncertainty, and most people are not willing to do that consistently. And finally, there is the reality that becoming rich demands a level of commitment that most people are not prepared for. It requires sacrifice, discipline, learning new skills, facing failure, and staying focused for long periods of time while others choose easier paths. And this is not about being better or smarter, it's about making different choices repeatedly, choices that are often difficult and uncomfortable, and that is why most people will never become rich, not because it is impossible, but because the path they are following leads somewhere else, a path built around security, routine, and short-term comfort, and unless that path changes, the outcome rarely will.